Let me get the fucking sound ready. Little intro. Going on right now. All right, ready to roll?
Yep.
Rip it.
Let's go!
All right, welcome back, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, those of you around the world, globally. We want to welcome you back to episode number 7 of Between the Stitches with Jared and Ryan. We got a nice episode today. Baseball is starting tomorrow. It's starting finally after the long-awaited off-season lockout. Owners, players, everybody else bickering back and forth. We got baseball that actually means something starting tomorrow. And we have some young guys that are going to be up in the big leagues making an impact right away. Love to see that. We will talk about our picks for the standings in the entire National League as far as the East, Central, and Western divisions. And we will give you our picks for who we believe is going to win the yearly awards: MVP, Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Phenomenal Fan Podcast. Let's get into it.
Batter up! We're taking the afternoon off. It's a beautiful day for a home run, but even a triple's okay. We're gonna cheer and boo and raise a hullabaloo at the ball game today. At the ball game, a wonderful ball game today.
Okie dokie, Jared. We are here. We have baseball
Howdy.
tomorrow. And also, I think I just said Phenomenal Fan
Let's go.
Podcast. So, starting off hot. But
That's
either
all right.
way,
Part of the umbrella.
yeah,
part of the
yeah,
umbrella.
yeah. It's
All
a
good.
Phenomenal
It's all
Fan
good, baby.
Podcast group. So it's not technically wrong, but it's also just not right. And the fact that I'm not locked in the day before opening day is kind of fucking despicable. So I'll go ahead and apologize as a
Your head's
man.
probably spinning.
Well, that too.
You're
I'm,
probably spinning right now.
yeah, I'm
'cause all the
spinning.
fucking excitement.
Yeah, I'm spinning for the highly anticipated 78 win season that the Padres are about to dive into. Super exciting times for the Padres with their superstar shortstop just on the shelf for 3 months to start the year. Whatever, that's not the point. The point is actually it's a decent transition because Tatis 3 years ago, one of the very first star prospect type of guys that the Padres actually called him up on opening day. He was on the opening day roster, in the lineup, contributing to the team as a rookie. And this year, we don't just have like one or two of those guys. We have like 7 dudes that are top 100 guys that are going to be on opening day rosters this year. I'm looking at the top 100 right now, Jared. Bobby Witt Jr., number 1 overall prospect, Kansas City Royals, middle, shortstop, third baseman, big leagues. 3rd overall prospect, Julio Rodriguez, Seattle Mariners outfielder, big leagues. Spencer Torkelson, 4th overall prospect, corner infielder, big leagues for the Tigers. CJ Abrams, Padres, 9th overall, shortstop, hasn't been officially announced, but the Padres have done all the sending down that they've needed to do to clear a roster, and CJ Abrams was not on any of those send downs. So he will probably be on the opening day roster for the Padres. Hunter Green, 22nd overall prospect for the Cincinnati Reds, right-handed pitcher who throws 152 miles an hour, first overall guy, I think, right? Either way, he's in the big leagues.
He was top 5 pick, I think. Yeah, I think he was. He might have been first overall. He was top 3, I think.
Yeah, he was, exactly. So
Let's see.
all of these guys.
Second. He's picked second overall.
Okay, so there you go.
You idiot.
Point is, all these guys are getting called up on opening day. And that is very cool, in my opinion, Jared. I don't know about you, but I think, honestly, it's kind of fucking about time, if you want me to be honest. Like, I was really kind of tired of... I mean, it was actually hard to think about when I was like, what... what did they do before? Like, it sounds like this new collective bargaining didn't really give the owners any benefit in holding a guy down anyways because of the service time that they changed. So I was like, okay, well, they held him down before, but I just couldn't, like, think of all the best guys in the big leagues and be like, when did they get called up? Like, I couldn't even think of it. Like, I was thinking about the Padres or the the fucking, I don't know, the Rockies or anybody. I'd be like, oh, when did CJ Cron get called up? Like, when did Charlie Blackmon get called up? Like,
well, CJ Cron got called up by like the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't even remember. I know he's been in the league for 15 years and he's bounced around.
Like Twins.
Yeah, last year he's been on the Angels a couple times. Yeah,
that's right. He's bounced around. It's actually
or like older Rocky, like
a home here.
Rockies legends. The only guy I remember of the Rockies that was like highly touted and then made the team and made an impact right away, as you know, is Trevor Story, because he got called up on the opening day roster and hit like 9 home runs in 3 games. Like, it was like something fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and the Rockies announcers just couldn't get off the fucking and the story continues.
Yeah.
They thought they were so clever.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, like but there were some old ladies that were like Rockies fans at home, that were old baseball fans that were like, just eating that shit up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I don't even think Story was like a top 10 guy though. Like, I think it was kind of like one of the top guys for the Rockies, and they just didn't have another option at shortstop. And not that they were forced to call him up. I'm sure he was good and they liked him, but I just don't think it was like Bobby Witt Jr., the number 1 prospect. Julio Rodriguez, number 3. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's just because the MLB in general and like the team's social media marketing managers are getting better to like produce content like that and make it a big deal to like highlight the players? I think that's probably what it is.
You're saying
it's like back in the like I'm saying
even in the I see what you're saying.
Like,
yeah.
They're old, like one of their old manager didn't think about that as content. Everything he was posting was, Angels.
Yeah.
And like if a guy like Bryce Harper came up, of course everyone knows about him, but like they weren't doing a good job of creating content with what they already had.
Yeah, I mean, we barely even knew
emphasizing and highlighting.
Yeah, like Nolan Arenado, for example, he got called up in what, like 2012, 2010, something like that, And like, did Twitter really even exist at the capacity that it does today? Did TikTok exist? Did fucking Instagram Reels exist? Like, of course not. So I get what you're saying. Like, I don't know if it was like the social media manager.
They're getting better at marketing them for sure.
Yeah, I don't think the social media manager at that time, I don't even know if those positions even barely existed. I'm sure that fucking Rockies were like, hey, make sure we have a Facebook page. And like, that's it,
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's all over the place. And to your point, though, about marketing it, because I think pretty much all these guys have, except for like maybe Torkelson and Hunter Green, but a lot of these guys, they are recording the video, like the live reaction of the player finding out that he's making the team. And I'm like, that.
Yeah, I've been seeing that all over.
Like, that is it's so cool. Like, it's so fucking cool to see that. Because like Julio Rodriguez is a great one where he sat down with the manager for the Mariners, and he's like, the Mariners manager is like, do you think, you're comfortable enough in center field and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, would you be comfortable playing center field in a stadium with like 3 decks instead of 2? And he was like, well, yeah, And then he was like, yeah, well, I guess it's time to bring whatever, the J-Rod show to Seattle. And like, Julio Rodriguez knows that he's really good. Everybody can go on the internet and see that he's the number 3 prospect. Like, he is going to be in the major leagues no matter what at some point in his life. and he knows it. But when he finds out,
Yeah.
he still it gets like a childlike excitement. It's just really, really cool to see that kind of shit. I fucking love it. And I wish teams
Yeah,
would
I
do it
like
a lot
that,
more often, you know?
I like the Cubs guy. You see the
In the
Cubs pitcher
dugout?
that figured out in the dugout. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you could just see like he's just taken back by it, and then everyone kind of comes up and dabs him up, and it's like that is cool because that's like I think as like a baseball fan and any kid, I mean you could be a girl too, but like guys for the most part, at some point, every one of us, that played baseball or even like thought about playing baseball was in the backyard, throwing that ball up, to
Yep.
themselves, like, oh, bases loaded, playing out the scenario, bases loaded, down by 3,
Yeah.
2 outs, 2 strikes,
Yep.
and like you imagine just like all those little scenarios. So I think it's really cool what they're doing with social media, so you can like live vicariously through like that person to see what that moment was like for them. So I think they're doing a lot better job of that for sure.
100%. 100%. And you have to now it's like you're more inclined to root for them. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we watch the guys on TV and we know that they have like personalities and we see media interviews with them, but it's like these big league guys are just grinding day after day after day after day. When at some point or another, those guys that got that same moment where they were like, dude, you're going to the big leagues. And, we talked to Kent, we talked to Lucas Gilbreth about it. Like it's like just such a surreal experience that it just sounds like I just wish they had that for everybody. I mean, it's just super cool. And it's exciting also, not just for like us sitting around here selfishly being like, wow, so cool. Like, oh, my heart feels good. Like, actually, these guys are really fucking good at baseball. Like Bobby Witt Jr. Is like Fernando Tatis Jr. almost, like maybe as good as him is what some people are saying. So it's like, I mean, unless the Royals have Fernando Tatis Jr., why wouldn't he start on opening day anyways? Like that makes perfect sense. Torkelson, monster, Hunter Green, second overall pick, like you mentioned. Julio Rodriguez. The Mariners need bats, and could certainly use his offensive contribution. So it makes sense. Like it's not like these moves are all for like PR purposes. They're like, well, he's a top guy, we have to call him up at some point. Like, no, these guys have all been tearing it up, and they're all top prospects. So it's time for them to come to the big leagues. I mean, that's how it works. And I think it's really cool, that they'll be up on opening day. I think is going to be exciting for those guys. Bobby Witt Jr., Spencer Torkelson, Hunter Green, Julio Rodriguez. I mean, I don't think it's very often that you see such a flurry of young guys all being called up at the same time. I mean, there was a group of prospects 2 years ago that were all the top 3 guys were all really good, with Tatis, Eloy Jimenez, and Vlad Jr. And everyone was like, oh, all these 3 guys are good, but they all didn't get called up at the same time. Tatis was the only one who made the opening day roster for his team. So, yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool to see. I'm excited for it. And hopefully these guys will have some cool moments, like Trevor Story did. Like we mentioned, I think Story went yard twice in his first game. And then the next day he went yard twice again, I think. So it's like, hopefully we see some cool shit and these guys stay healthy and play long careers. And yeah, so on the topic of new guys on different locations on opening day, Sean Manaea got traded to the San Diego Padres. Quickly wanted to touch on that because I'm a biased Padres fan, but also I feel like that deal might be interesting, Jared. Sean Manaea to the Padres, because Padres, contrary to what the rotation actually looked like, they actually needed some help in the rotation. Clevenger is not 100%, and he's kind of going to be back on the IL. Blake Snell is not 100%. He's going to be ramped up to like 3 or 4 innings his first couple starts. Darvish has been okay. Joe Musgrove's been pretty good. And then Chris Paddock's not going to be good enough to be in the rotation. So that one might be I don't know. That might be a little interesting trade, but doesn't really do a whole lot, in my opinion. I think the other big one, obviously, AJ Pollock to the White Sox for Kimbrel. That is big trade.
Yeah, you kind of. I feel like you could kind of see that one coming though, like because we'd already talked about how like great that bullpen was,
Like they had so many just
and like
ridiculous
there was
pieces.
so many people. So like AJ Pollock is like a pretty good, a pretty damn good ad for them, I guess. Like it's a depth ad for sure, especially with a team that's like I feel like we've seen them banged up. Like last year, I don't think that they were able to be as good as they could have been because they got banged up. You got Luis Robert went down, Eloy Jimenez was down for a
Yeah.
while.
And if anything, it'll give those
know,
guys you mentioned, you just said Eloy and Luis Robert, it'll give them a day or two per week to just DH, and just throw Pollock out there.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a very solid player, obviously.
Yeah, I thought that trade was
But yeah, Kimbrel. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Kimbrel. I don't know. I just felt like that trade was kind of like a little bit like uneven though. Like I know the White Sox have all the dudes in the pen, but like on a 0 to 100 scale for those two guys to go straight up, like I'd rate Kimbrel at like 87, type of bullpen pitcher, and Pollock is like at 78. Like
right, like 81.
Yeah, it just felt like it was kind of. I felt like it was kind of not.
There had to have been some sort of like financial implications because Craig Kimbrel is obviously like a pretty high paid player, so there must have been some sort of like there had to have been some sort of business side of it that were like you really can't see as a fan unless you looked into it. I bet you like because Kimbrel like how big is his contract?
I don't know. I'm looking at it right now. Oh shit! By the way, I mean we love Kimbrel and he's a great pitcher, but he had a bad time on the White Sox last year. Bad.
Yeah, no, he was off. He was really bad with the White Sox. He came over as he was dominant with the Cubs.
Yeah.
And then he came over to the White Sox and he sucked. Yeah. At a 5 ERA or something.
What? So this
0.4, get that he was in 39 games pitched or games played with the Cubs, he had a 0.49 ERA. And then he came over to the White Sox in 24 games at a 5.09.
This article I'm reading right now is saying that the White Sox desperately needed a right fielder. I did not know that was the case. I'm looking through their roster right now. Yeah, that's just not the case. Like, they did not desperately need a right fielder. Their outfielder options go Luis Robert, Adam Engel, before AJ Pollock, Luis Robert, Adam Engel, Andrew Vaughn, Gavin Sheets, Larry Garcia, and Eloy Jimenez. That's 7 dudes that can play outfield. They did not desperately need AJ Pollock. Does it help now? Yeah. Because now they'll have Robert, Pollock, and Eloy? Yes, that's better than Robert, Eloy, and Larry Garcia, but they didn't desperately need a right fielder. Maybe
he'll be a good improvement though. I feel like
I agree.
I
agree.
He okay. So it couldn't have been too much of the contract though, because Kimbrel and Pollock are pretty similar
as far as money.
I think I think it looks like Pollock was on a 4-year, $55 million deal. Kimbrel was 3 years, $43 million deal. So it's actually really similar, almost identical.
Yep.
So, yeah. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the logic was behind it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad either side. I wouldn't grade either side as like a horrible deal for either side. Like
it just once again it just pisses me off if the Dodgers just get someone cool.
Yeah, that's more than anything, dude. Sick. More than anything, that's exactly what it is. I'm like, what the fuck? Because everyone's like, oh, their bullpen sucks now. They have nobody. Like, first of all, we know they lost Kenley, but that's literally it. Like, they still have Blake Trinan and fucking Tommy Kahnle and Daniel Hudson and David Price. Like, they're fine. But then you add Kimbrel to that team. I mean, that is as close to like Monstar's fucking Space Jam super team in the major leagues as I've ever seen one. Like, it's
up there. It's
kind of
it's up there with like the old. It's just like They're just the West Coast Yankees, really. That's what
Yep.
it comes down to. The Yankees have always been like that too. Like remember when it was like, I mean, like even like right now, it's like like Zach Britton's a little bit older, but like there's a while where it was like you just had like 3 or 4 guys that were just fucking basically closers, like basically what the White Sox have now
Yeah.
too. But it's good. You can cheer for the White Sox because they haven't done shit in a long time.
Yep.
So
100%.
let's go Sox.
Yeah, go Sox. Jared's a Sox guy now, so it's huge.
I'm a big Sox guy now.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much been the deals for the most part. There's rumors going on right now that the Padres might get Taylor Rogers from the Twins. There's rumors that the Padres are working on some other deals. I don't think they'll get anything else done. I also doubt. I mean, it sounds like Taylor Rogers thing is more likely than some others, but just for everybody listening so far, and this is 100% true, the Padres have been tied to or rumored to inquire on or seriously inquire on this offseason. Brian Reynolds from the Pirates, Jose Ramirez from the Guardians, JT Realmuto from the
Who's talking to him?
these are all players that Padres reporters have reported that the Padres have at least checked in on if they're available or seriously inquired about. Like Jose Ramirez was earlier yesterday. There was a report from this guy Hector Gomez that was like Padres are trying really hard to get Jose Ramirez. They've checked in on Taylor. They're trying hard for Taylor Rogers. They tried really hard for Brian Reynolds. They almost got Dominic Smith from the Mets. Like, so my point is, I'm not super excited. Kevin Acee, Padres supporters, as among other things they're working on, the Padres are talking with the Twins about Taylor Rogers. It's unclear everything the deal might involve, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it probably won't happen. Probably won't fucking happen. So that's it for the trades. Next part on this podcast, we wanted to talk about our division predictions for the National League. We brushed over the American League in our last few episodes, and we were doing one division per show. We're just going to do 3 on this episode, and we'll just give you our teams straight up, how we think they're going to finish. Not going to dive a whole lot into it. Probably just give you our predictions and then just kind of run through the standings and say this is why I think it'll unfold that way, and yada yada yada. So, Jared, first division we're going to go for is the National League East. So I'm going to go over the projected standings according to Fangraphs, and then I'll give you what I think is going to happen. And oddly enough, they're not that far off. But the Fangraphs projections for the National League East has Nationals last, agree. Marlins second to last and fourth, agree. Phillies in third, probably agree. Mets in second, Braves in first. My National League East standings would go Nationals, Marlins, Phillies, Braves, Mets, in that order. From 5th to 1st. So I would go Nationals 5th, Marlins 4th, Phillies 3rd, Braves 2nd, Mets 1st. I just think the Mets have gotten better, and they have DeGrom and Scherzer, and I don't really care if either of them are hurt. It's still, they're going to perform better. Lindor's going to bounce back.
It's a crazy one too,
yeah.
obviously. I would agree with, you know what? I'm actually like dead on with exactly what the
Fangraphs.
that Fangraphs would be as well. Dude, the Phillies are so tempting to want to like, but they just don't have the bullpen.
Dude.
They just don't have the bullpen like they don't have the bullpen like the Braves. The Braves bullpen isn't like, it's not like out of this world. They got Kenley Jansen this year, obviously, but like their rotation's really solid all the way through. And Acuna coming back this year is going to be a big deal. Matt Olson, that's just a freak team. I'm taking them up top. I'm worried about the Mets' inability. Like, obviously, they've gotten better. Yes, they do have Scherzer and DeGrom. Don't know if DeGrom is going to, I don't know if DeGrom is going to be around all year. I never know. Obviously, he's lingering with some sort of shoulder shit right now
Yeah,
again, or whatever it is. So it's always that's always, if he's there, obviously he's the best pitcher in baseball. He's
Oh my God,
unhittable.
yes.
And then you have Scherzer, which, yeah, he was ridiculously good last year. He's like 37 or 38. I could see him having a slight bit of a decline this year.
Sure.
I know he's been so good. It's hard to say that about him, but like you can kind of tell over the last couple of years, the velocity is starting to go down just a little bit. You're seeing more 93 to 96 out of him
Instead of 96, 95 to 99.
Yeah, 96 and 95 to 99. So could see him kind of having a little bit of a regression for sure. But that's the only reason that I'm putting the Braves above the Mets. Phillies, I think I love their offense right now, and I just don't think that bullpen. I think it's just going to be one of those cases where they're going to be scoring a lot of runs and losing ball games still.
Yeah, like we talked about last episode too, Jared. Pitching wins ball games, and they have Zach Wheeler,
Yep.
they have Aaron Nola, and then it's a bunch of fucking nobodies in their rotation, and their bullpen. So they're gonna swing it, right? There's no doubt. With JT Realmuto and Bryce Harper and Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber and fucking everybody else, whoever else, Reese Hoskins, we know they're going to mash the ball, but mashing the ball doesn't matter if you can't fucking pitch. So if they don't pitch, they're not going to win. And I think that's why when we both put them in third, I'm guessing you're the same way. Like when I put them in third place, I'm not putting them in third place 3 games under 500. Like they're going to be over 500. They're going to be...
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty good division this year.
Exactly. Like there's going to be 3 teams battling. I just think the Mets come out on top if Lindor plays even 20% better than he did last year. So Mets, Braves, Phillies, Marlins, Nationals from first to last. National League Central is a really interesting one, Jared, because Fangraphs projections doesn't have a single team in this division winning more than 90 games. Not one team. Which I can kind of see.
I don't disagree with that. I could see some high 80s winners. That's kind of like,
yeah.
And they're good, but they're good teams.
So,
and I can tell you right off the top of my head what it's going to be.
Yeah, so Fangraphs has Pirates in last, duh. Reds in fourth.
Really?
Reds in fourth. Cubs in third. Brewers in second, and the Cardinals in first. And it's got the Brewers 1 game behind the Cardinals, 87-75, and the Cardinals 88-74. I don't know. I think if I had to give my pick for the National League Central would go Reds 5th, Pirates 4th, Cubs 3rd, Cardinals 2nd, Brewers 1st. The Brewers pitching is fucked in the best way possible. Like it is fucked up how good their first 3 pitchers are in the rotation. They have the National League Cy Young Award winner, Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, who throws no big deal, like 99, and Freddie Peralta, who was he was probably the first half National League Cy Young last year. Dominant.
Yeah. Very good. Also, their 8th and 9th inning guys are freaks.
Correct.
You have Josh Hader and then what's his name? Devin Williams?
Devin Williams. Yeah.
Devin Williams. Yeah, he's got the nastiest changeup in baseball.
I'm sorry if you give me into the postseason, Jerry. I mean, I know we're talking about regular season. You go into the postseason, or let's just go 3 days a week for those 3 guys that start. There's 3 games a week. You could literally go Corbin Burns for 7, Williams for 2. The next day, you could go Woodruff for 7, Josh Hader for 2. And the next day, you could go Freddie Peralta for 7, and then Williams or Hader again for 2. Like, they are going to have a lot of games where 2 pitchers will pitch. A lot of games where they will have 2 arms pitching. And I don't think there's a single team in baseball that has that at all. And I don't really care if they don't score a lot. They're going to score more. I also think Yelich will bounce back. I think people are like just forgetting that the Milwaukee Brewers have Christian Yelich. Like the guy mashes when he's good. So yeah, I like Reds last, Pirates fourth, Cubs third, Cardinals second, Brewers first. Jared.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Reds last,
Yep.
Pirates fourth, Cubs third, Brewers second, Cardinals first.
Okay. Just swap
I
them.
like the Cardinal. I think I just like the way that the Cardinals played baseball, and I was always kind of a little bit of a biased fan, but I think like Jack Flaherty kind of like got forgotten. He's a potential Cy Young guy, like every year. Like
Yep.
he's like since he's gotten up, he's a freak. He's really young still. Wainwright's kind of like that old savvy vet that's still going to get it done. Like he doesn't throw out crazy hard, but he's going to win ball games because he can pitch. I think Steven Matz is going to be like for the Cardinals. It's going to like surprise people because he's been like a guy that when you watch him throw, you're like, how is he not like a 13 game winner every year?
Seriously.
And then he just kind of always like when he was with the Mets, he was just kind of always disappointing. So, but I think
Just like average. Yeah.
Mats might have a little revive. And then Miles Mikolas as your fourth starter, and then Dakota Hudson, who's obviously kind of like a prospect more. Like he's not really necessarily a prospect, but he hasn't really made his big break yet,
Right.
I guess, in the league. And then in terms of their bullpen, you have Giovanni Gallegos, Genesis Cabrera, and Aaron Hicks. So some pretty solid, pretty solid bullpen guys. But then their lineup is what I actually like more than I like their lineup more than the Brewers.
Really?
You got so you have Nolan Arenado, Paul DeJong, Tyler O'Neill, Harrison Bader, Dylan Carlson, who we talked about is going to make a big splash this year, we think. They got Corey Dickerson, Tommy Edman, Paul Goldschmidt, and Yachty. And Yachty, I can't believe Yachty's still in the league, but he's still really good defensively and can kind of get it done hitting, but like not really. But Goldschmidt still just one of those guys that hasn't really produced that MVP caliber year, but still really solid. Arenado, if he doesn't win an MVP at some point in his career, it's going to be disappointing, which he might not ever, but he's like, he's put up some ridiculous years. Obviously, he just never put up like I don't know. I feel like actually it's kind of surprising. Maybe he needed a higher average or something. I think that Nolan Arenado's had better years than Chris Bryant's MVP year for sure.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So,
But he played at
and then I
Coors
think
Field, Jared. He played at
Yeah.
Coors.
And then they have, obviously like Tyler O'Neill's got like crazy pop.
Dude, Tyler O'Neill
He's
last year
fucking-
was a fucking monster. He smashed
Yeah,
the
what-
ball last year.
What did he do last year? He hit 286 with 34 home runs
Dude, yeah.
last year in a 912 OPS.
Dude, that is
Yeah, Carlson. Yeah, that's solid. Carlson actually played like almost a full season, but 18 home runs, 65 RBIs, 270s, switch hitter. Like
Young guy,
only gonna
too.
improve. Yeah, really. Yeah. Kind of like low key. Like I've always loved Corey Dickerson. I feel like Corey Dickerson's always smashed, and he's never found a home.
lefty
So-
bat, little guy, just has pop.
Yeah, Paul DeJong has pop, but we'll get pretty worried about his strikeouts. So he's not. I don't think he's like I don't know. I'm kind of surprised he's still the starting shortstop. But they have that prospect coming up, right? What's his name?
Well, they have
Sosa.
Edmundo
Is he
Sosa,
a
whatever.
prospect still?
I think he
Yeah,
was
he's
up a
solid.
bunch last
So-
year, so but yeah.
Yeah, he was up quite a bit. But anyway, I just like that team. I think Tommy Edman's kind of a classic like Cardinals like scrappy player. I mean, none of them are like crazy. Like none of like their smaller names are like crazy good, but like it's just the same. Those Cardinals have always been able to play baseball. I think they win the division, even though the Brewers are going to be right there with them. I think it's going to be one of those times at the end of the year, your original race, and you're counting at the end. You're watching scoreboards
Yeah.
and counting at the end of the year. So yeah, I'd say that's my picks.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And then
Yeah.
this next one's obviously chalk with the NL West.
It
It's
is.
absolutely chalk. And I think the Diamondbacks are obviously falling into fifth. I think the Rockies surprisingly have made enough good moves that they won't get fifth in this division.
Okay,
They'll get
so
fourth.
okay, so first of all, here's my thing with the Rockies. People are gonna shit on them, right? And not that you should, but they shit on the front office for the decisions the front office has made to a certain extent. But Fangraphs has Rockies in last, D-backs in fourth, Giants third, Padres second, Dodgers first. They also have the Dodgers winning 93 games this year, and that is disgustingly low. The Dodgers are going to win at least 103 games this year, if not more. They're also not putting in and accounting for in their calculations that the Padres consistently and repeatedly choke on their own spit and underperform the projections that are given to them. I think they should do the projections normal and then just subtract 4 wins. I mean, I think that's pretty reasonable. The Giants are the opposite, where the Giants usually exceed expectations. So I think the opposite should happen with the Giants. Take their projections, add 4 wins to it. The D-backs are going to be bad this year. They're going to be really bad. The Rockies, in my opinion, if they can throw the ball even a little bit on the mound, which is hard to do at Coors Field, I get it. But the Rockies' offensive lineup right now is better than the San Diego Padres' offensive lineup right now. Like, the Rockies' opening day lineup is better than the Padres' opening day lineup. If you go position by position, Jared, maybe not even position like specific, but the 3 outfielders for the Padres right now, Jurickson Profar, Trent Grisham, Will Myers. For the Rockies, Randall Grichuk, Charlie Blackmon, and who else? Chris Bryant will probably be tossed up. Let me see. Who do they have
for our outfielder?
Yeah, who would
they have? Randall Grichuk, Charlie Blackmon. They have Sam Hilliard.
Dude, Sam Hilliard is like
Center.
good. Like, he's like a good player.
He hit 215 with 14 home runs.
But he's got like he can run. He can.
But check this out.
He played nothing.
Played 81. He
Yeah,
played 81
exactly.
games.
Exactly. And
So-
half of
so
those were pinch hits.
Double that
dude.
up. Dude, so you're talking about like a 25 home run guy, 70 RBIs potentially, but the average is something to be
If you look,
concerned
listen.
about. But who cares? Who knows?
If you look at Jared, their outfield. Let's just say it's even. Let's just say it's an even distribution with Profar, Grisham, and Myers, and the Rockies rolling out Randall Grichuk, Charlie Blackmon, and let's just say Garrett Hampson or Sam Hilliard. Right? Let's call that even, because I think Grichuk's the best of any of those guys that I just listed. I think Blackmon and Myers are about the same, and I think Profar and Hilliard or whoever would probably be about the same. So let's just say it's even. Okay? You go to the infield, Jared. The Padres' best infielder right now is Manny Machado. And the Rockies' best infielder at third base is Chris Bryant. So Chris Bryant's better than not better. They're probably the same. Maybe Machado might be a smidge better. Let's just give Machado the edge for argument's sake. Shortstop, Jose Iglesias or Ha-Sung Kim. I'm taking Jose Iglesias. You go to second base, Ryan McMahon or Jake Cronenworth. I probably take Cronenworth, but that's a toss-up. McMahon smashed the ball last year, and he just got a huge extension. McMahon hit 23 home runs, and Cronenworth, they were like almost the same. And then you go to first base, and that's where the drop-off is huge. CJ Cron had a monster year last year, and Hosmer had a horrible year. And so 28 home runs for Cron, 281, 905 OPS versus Hosmer's fucking 720 OPS. And then catching, I don't know, is probably the same. I mean, whoever the Rockies have at catcher, I don't even know. Elias Diaz. Yeah. So my point is,
who actually surprisingly hit 250 with 18 home runs last year.
like, that's not bad. Just not that bad.
Catcher, dude. I feel like catchers I don't know why catchers like kind of historically are like
Just
not
can't
that
hit.
great at offense.
Yeah.
I don't get it. They see pitches all day. Like, you'd think they'd be the best hitter, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, you get to watch it come in, and like, don't you think that their recognition would be the best? And their understanding of what a pitcher's trying to do would be the best. I feel like catchers should be the best hitters.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But But yeah, no, I agree. I think
the reason I went off on that
the
rant
Rockies
is
have a bunch
because
of the Rockies have a bunch of 78 to 80, 81. Now we'll give Chris Bryant like a 80. What's Diamond start at in MLB the Show? 88?
85.
Can you be like an 85? Yeah, we'll give Chris Bryant like an 87 Diamond. He's our best player
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But CJ Crone was probably an 84 gold. He's like on the cusp after last year.
Yeah.
But like he's just not a big enough marketed name where they just won't give it to him yet.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the
He'd
reason
have to hit 39 home runs this year.
Yeah. Yeah. The reason I even went on the rant to make my point was the Rockies might surprise some people this year. And that's what I was getting at. I don't think they're going to win the division. I don't think they'll get second place. But maybe. I mean, fuck. I don't know. If I had to give, my National League West predictions, I would go Dodgers in first, Giants in second, Padres third, Rockies fourth, D-backs fifth. I think it goes exactly how it did last year.
You think so?
Dodgers, Giants, Padres, Rockies, D-backs. I don't think the Giants are going to be winning 107 games. I think they're going to win more like 84, 87. And I think the Padres win 79 to 83 games, and the Rockies win 73 to 75 games, and the D-backs win like 62 games. So,
yeah, it's I think obviously the Dodgers win it this year. I just think that the team that obviously it's like we talked about a million times, it's a super team again. You know what? I got a weird feeling the Padres are going to be better than you think.
I don't, but
So
yeah,
I'm taking the Padres in second this year. I'm taking them to perform better, and the Giants to have a slight regression from last year, even though they're always really good. So I'm gonna go Dodgers, Padres, Giants, which is disrespectful to the Giants, but they did lose Chris Bryant and Kevin Gausman,
they did.
and
Buster
I
Posey.
think that Buster Posey. I think the Padres pitching staff was ridiculously underperforming last year
Horrible.
for how good it should have been.
Horrible.
So I think the Padres swing up this year. Tatis comes back and still has a monster year, even though he's a little bit fucked up. I'm taking the Rockies in fourth, and the putrid ass D-backs down there in the bottom.
Yep. 100%.
But I'm gonna flip the Giants, but I think once again this is a situation where I think it's gonna be Dodgers run away with the division, and then Padres and Giants are kind of clamoring back and forth, and one of the teams is going to get hot and go on like a 14-game winning streak or something. They're going to win 15 out of 16, and it's going to make them, an 87-game winner, and the other team's going to be 2 wins behind.
Yep.
I think that's how this division plays out.
Love it. Love it.
All right.
Okay, so that's our predictions for those divisions. Moving on to the awards, Jared.
Yes.
National League, American League, MVP, Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year. Okay. Starting off, Jared, let's just go straight down. Let's go Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and then MVP. How about that?
Okay. All right.
Rookie of the Year,
Rookie of the Year.
American League, AL Rookie of the Year. Who you got?
Spencer Torkelson.
Okay.
Torkelson hit 30 home runs last year in his first year in the minor leagues. He's going to come up for Detroit as an opening day guy. He's going to get a ton of at-bats this year. He's going to hit, probably 265 with 35 jacks for the Tigers, 98 RBIs, something crazy like that. And he's going to win the Rookie of the Year in the American League over your boy, who you can go ahead and say.
Yeah, I mean, my pick for the American League Rookie of the Year is super chalk, but Bobby Wood Jr. I mean, I realistically think Bobby Wood Jr. Could hit 35 home runs this year and finish with over 900 OPS in his rookie season. I mean, he's that good. Will he? Probably not, but I think even if he is comparable stats to Torkelson, the fact that he plays a premier position at shortstop will give him enough to win Rookie of the Year. That's just me though.
Oh,
National League Rookie of the
it's all
Year.
speculation.
National League Rookie of the Year, Jared. I think we have the same guy, but go ahead. Who's your National League Rookie of the Year?
I'm taking Seiya Suzuki.
Yep.
For the Cubs. My reasoning behind that is he's already played like high level professional baseball. And he's destroyed it. And we've seen guys from Japan be able to come over here and play in the big leagues. So like, Yu Darvish, like when Ichiro came over, he won. Seiya Suzuki hit, I think like in 400 some at bats last year, I want to say. In Japan for Hiroshima. What are they called? The Hiroshima.
I don't know.
It's the Hiroshima Carp. Hero. I don't know. They're called Hiroshima. I don't know. They have a little thing. Oh yeah, it's the Hiroshima Toyo Carp. It is the Carp. That's an amazing, amazing team, by the way. But he for them last year in like 400 at bats, he hit like 38 home runs with almost 100 RBIs. So like in comparison, that's about 65 to 70% of the at bats that Vlad Jr. got in the big leagues last year. Granted, he's going to be facing premier pitching in the United States in the MLB. I still think that those numbers come over here and they translate. And who knows? I think it's either going to be a surprise where he hits 45 jacks or maybe a slight regression at 600 bats, but he still hits close to 30.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to take that away. And he's, like I said, he's got experience at the highest level over there. And I think he's ready for the bigs.
Yeah, I think the NL Rookie of the Year is easy pick just because not that there's not good other good rookies, but Suzuki's not a rookie. Like he is obviously, but he's not. So he's going to come over. Yeah. He's a 4-year big league veteran.
Similar,
you know what I mean? So it's like
similar to the Ichiro situation.
Right. Like Ichiro came over his first year. Ichiro came over his first year in the MLB and won Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. So it's like he was obviously not a rookie, right? He was clearly, coming up and ready to go. So Suzuki's going to be the same way. And I think he even regresses a little bit, but his regression is still going to be more than enough to win. Like he's going to finish with 26 home runs, 85 RBIs, 272 with a 845 OPS, and that's going to be more than enough to win NL Rookie of the Year. Like easy, no problem.
So check this out. For Hiroshima last year in 435 at bats, he hit 38 home runs, 88 RBIs, 1,073 OPS.
Yeah, that's really good.
So I'm just saying, like 200 more at bats. Think about how crazy that year is. And I'm not saying like he's going to be able to do that to big league pitching, but I do think, like, if you look at his numbers too, he doesn't strike out a ton.
Yep.
He struck out. It looks like he struck out 89 times. He struck out 89 times last year in 439 at bats. It's like 110 strikeout, 150 or 120 strikeout season, maybe.
Yeah, it's not the worst.
That's not shit.
Yeah.
Not for a power hitter.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a chalk pick, but I like it.
Yeah.
A lot.
Moving on to the pitching awards. American League Cy Young Award winner, Jared. Who you got?
Garrett Cole.
Yep.
And Garrett Cole, you know why Garrett Cole's the Cy Young winner? Is because there's not that many other options behind him that I love.
Correct.
You have like Shane Bieber, Jose Barrios is like a top 5 guy in terms of like betting odds. So like when I looked at the list of betting odds, I was like, okay, like it's fucking Garrett Cole. And when he went to the Yankees, he started giving. I think he gave up a bunch of home runs, but like he went to the Yankees and like was still really good. I think he just gets back to being like ultra dominant this year.
Oh yeah,
and he went and just out of that field, he's gonna win the Cy Young.
100%. Yeah, I mean he got second in Cy Young last year. The only reason he got second is because Robbie Ray had a freak season, and Robbie Ray's not going to do that again. And Garrett Cole has done it repeatedly. Garrett Cole has 5 top 5 Cy Young finishes. He's never won one. He's going to win it.
That's kind of a shame. That's kind of a damn shame that Garrett Cole hasn't won a Cy Young.
Like he deserves it. He should.
It's like Vlad. It's like Vlad not getting MVP last year because of Shohei.
Right.
It's a shame. But
yeah, I mean,
like Garrett Cole. Is that who you have?
I have Garrett Cole winning the American League Cy Young as well. Looking at Jared, the 2019 season, by the way, Garrett Cole like should have won the Cy Young very easily, in my opinion.
Who won it? Did Verlander win it?
Verlander went 21-6 with a 2.58 ERA, 223 innings, with 300 punch-outs on the nose. Garrett Cole had 20-5 with a 2.5 ERA, better ERA, 9 less innings, and he had 26 more strikeouts, and he had a higher ERA plus. His whip was a little bit higher because he's walked a few more. I don't know. I don't like that very much. But yeah, my pick for American League Cy Young is Garrett Cole. I think it's pretty much the easiest pick also, but it's the smartest pick because picking anybody else is more of a long shot, and taking a risk on a guy like Robbie Ray, who had one good season, as opposed to a track record of absolute dominance for the Astros. I think Garrett Cole is a good pick. I think it's a smart pick. And yeah, that's my pick for American League Cy Young. National League Cy Young, Jared, who do you got?
I'm taking Walker Buehler this year.
Love it.
Because let's go real quick and look at some baseball futures. The guys that are in that list, and in the list, like you have Corbin Burns, obviously, like, who knows? He could repeat. He's fucking disgusting. Like I said, I think Max Scherzer's good. He's the odds favorite. Can have a slight regression this year. And then Walker Buehler is the third guy on there on the betting list. I think Walker Buehler he's put together some really good seasons, but I think he's got such a good team this year that if he just dominates, he's going to win like 24 games. Like, he's just got to go out there and pitch 75% up to his potential.
Yeah.
And he'll win 20 games.
Yeah.
He's that good. He throws 98 miles per hour. He commands the zone, has good pitches. I felt like Walker Buehler last year when I watched him, he was getting like a really high pitch count early. He was throwing like 100 pitches in 5 innings. And that was problematic. I think if he could like be like in the zone, kind of get some get some easy outs, jam job, ground balls, being like such a punch out, and like it's hard to remember how young he is because how good he is. But it's like if he can pitch to contact slightly more, if that makes sense, rather than just trying to throw like the perfect slider out of the zone every time, which I think is like easy to do when you're young, because when he's like, you gotta think he was at Vanderbilt like not that long ago.
Yeah.
Like what, 2016, 17?
Probably. Yeah, something like that.
Whatever. But it's like you throw that slider to a big leaguer and you can spit on it, and you're so used to. He hasn't quite got to the point where he's willing to let batters put the ball in play and get to the 8th inning like consistently. So I'm taking Walker Buehler as my NL. So yeah, who do you got?
My pick for American League, or my pick for National League Cy Young, is Zach Wheeler.
I like that. That's a good pick.
Zach Wheeler. Let me start with this, Jared. Could you name me? I mean, you're gonna know one of the answers. Could you name me the top 5 in Major League Baseball last year in WAR, wins above replacement?
For pitchers?
All of baseball.
Let's see.
Who's number 1?
So Shohei Ohtani. Shohei had to have been number
Shohei's 1.
Vlad Jr.
Vlad is 6.
Had to. Oh, really?
Yep.
Who else had a really good? If Vlad's 6, then what was Harper?
Harper was tied for 19th with a 5.9 WAR. Vlad Jr. had a 6.8 WAR.
And he won the MVP.
Yep.
Then now I probably can't read it too.
So Shohei Ohtani, let me go from 5 to 1. We know Otani's won. 5th place in WAR last year in baseball, Juan Soto had a 7 WAR, 7 even. 4th place in WAR, Marcus Semien had a 7.1. 3rd place, Carlos Correa, 7.2. And the second highest WAR in baseball last year was Zach Wheeler with a 7.8. Second highest
Wow.
WAR in the big leagues. And I don't know, he finished second in Cy
Did he
Young last
lead?
year. He led the league
He
in
led the
innings
league in
pitched and
innings
strikeouts.
pitched, right?
Yeah, innings pitched, strikeouts, and complete games and complete game shutouts last year.
Wow.
And he had 10 and a half strikeouts per 9, which is fucked. He had a 2.78 ERA, which is fucked. And the only reason he didn't win Cy Young last year is because Corbin Burns had also a completely fucked year. And even though I think Wheeler should have won it, but that's just me personally. I mean,
Yeah.
Wheeler had a 7.8
Yeah.
WAR and Corbin Burns had a 5.6 WAR. It's 2 full wins as a pitcher. That's crazy. But I think Wheeler, man, is only trending upward. And he finally last year,
better team.
yep, better team. And I think last year he finally like put it all together. Like he finally pitched a full season on a good team, in a spot that he enjoyed, and he fucking shoved last year, dude. Shoved it. And I think he's gonna do it again. And the Phillies got better. So my pick for NL Cy Young is Zach Wheeler.
That's he really could have won it last year. He should have. Corbin Burns had a little bit lower ERA, but Corbin was 11-5. I know that, but like he almost pitched. He pitched like 50 some innings more.
Yeah. Yep.
Like almost 50 innings more than Corbin Burns. That's
Yeah.
like,
I know.
like if you do the math, that's what
He also had
6.
I mean,
basically six complete games if you were to throw all 9 innings.
yeah, Wheeler's,
lot of innings.
Wheeler's only thing is that he doesn't strike out maybe as much as he could or should have.
Yeah, I guess if you're talking about strikeouts per 9, Burns led with 12.6.
Yeah.
It's a fuckload.
Yeah. So I mean, I think Zach Wheeler is going to put everything together this year, and he's going to win my National League Cy Young. So the last 2 awards, Jared. National League Most Valuable Player. Who do you got?
I got Mookie Betts this year.
Yep.
I first of all, I fucking love Mookie Betts, and he won the MVP in Boston. And really, if he plays the whole year, like if he doesn't get injured, he's going to be playing on probably the best team in baseball, obviously, that we talked about. They're going to win their division. They're going to win 105 games. And if he can produce and that be like the top producer in that lineup, and like it's not just like with Mookie Betts, it's not just all about like obviously he has freak numbers, it seems like every year, but it just feels like he's just the guy you want up. You know what I mean? He's the guy that like you have so much confidence that he's gonna put a double in the gap. And it might not be a crazy home run every, but he's gonna put a double in the gap, or he's gonna fucking throw a guy out from the warning. He's like an all around like 5-tool super player for the best team. And I think that like he's got a good chance of winning it. I know that a lot of people are probably pretty high on like Juan Soto again, but I think Mookie Betts for the best team in baseball wins the MVP.
Okay. It's a good pick. I don't mind
Who
it.
do you have?
I'm going with one of his teammates. And my pick for National League Cy Young is not Freddie Freeman. It's not Cody Bellinger, even though that would be stupid. But my pick for National League MVP is Trey Turner.
I like that.
I think last
Hard.
year
He can steal bases.
Last year, he led the league in hits, batting average, total bases. He had a 911 OPS. He had a 146 OPS plus. He led the league in stolen bases with 32, and he hit 28 home runs last year, which is by far a career high. But now he's on a team where wherever he hits in the lineup, probably top 4, somewhere in the top 4, lead off, second, third, fourth, probably the first 3 more than anything. He's going to have a combination of Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman or Cody Bellinger or Max Muncy protecting him in that lineup. And I mean, it's fucked. Like, it's completely fucked, that lineup. And I think while these expectations and all these other guys are going to get pitched so difficultly, I think Trey Turner he's also a big contact guy. Like, he just doesn't strike out that much. And he just gets on base like crazy. 375 on base last year. It's a great on base percentage. 2020 had a 394 on base percentage. So my pick is Trey Turner, because I think if he gets to 30 home runs and he finishes with over 30 bags and he hits over 315, how do you not give the MVP to a guy that goes 30-30 and hits over 315? How do you not give that guy the MVP? Like, I don't care if there's other guys that hit 40, 45. Trey Turner's going to get MVP. If he goes 30-30 next year, he will win MVP, 100%. So that's my pick for National League MVP, Trey Turner.
Yeah, that's a strong pick. I mean, you can't go against that. And like, I really do agree that stolen bases are that's like one of those hidden things.
Yeah.
It's one of those hidden things that really, it's like the whipped cream. It's actually, it's more like the cherry on top of the whipped cream.
Yep.
Like, I'd say defense ends up being like the whipped cream.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the other thing, by the way. He can play
down there.
He's going to play shortstop for the Dodgers in LA on a super team.
Yeah.
Like, dude, give me a break.
The meat and the potatoes of it are like home runs, RBIs, average, and then you sprinkle the defense on, and then stolen bases, the cherry on top, and that's like the 5 tools basically.
Yeah, and he's gonna
somebody that can do that.
And he's gonna finish the year next year with a full fucking Oreo McFlurry milkshake with a pile of whipped cream and a nice fresh maraschino cherry on top. And they're gonna go, holy shit, this guy's the best thing that's ever happened. MVP.
Sounds great.
Not to mention, by the way, he's gonna hit probably about 15 home runs off the Padres next year, because he murders the Padres. I think he's hitting like almost 450 against the Padres in his career. Mostly because, you know why, Jared? Trey Turner was formerly property of the Padres, and we traded him for Will Myers. So that worked out really well. Last pick, Jared. American League most valuable player. Who you got?
It almost seems like it's going to be impossible to win if your name's not Shohei Ohtani.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the definition of the award.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most valuable player in the league. So it's like, how the fuck are you not the most valuable player if you're hitting 40 home runs and being an offensive? It's not like he's like a 23 home run. He's like a legitimate beast hitter that's going to hit 35 plus jacks again. And then he's going to strike out 170 batters on the mound, 12 games. And it's like, that's not even a fucking on the menu. We're talking about dessert, the cherry on top of the whipped cream. That's not even on the menu. So it's, in my mind, it's just impossible to beat Shohei if he stays healthy. I don't care if your name's fucking Mike Trout, or if Mike Trout and Albert Pujols had a baby with Pete Rose. You're not going to be able to beat Shohei because he can pitch.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great pick. It makes a lot of sense. I don't have anything against it. I am simply not picking him just kind of for argument's sake. And this is also a guy that I'm really high on. I really, really like this guy. My pick for American League MVP is Luis Robert on the White Sox. I don't think he's going to win MVP, but I'm just not picking Shohei and Mike Trout, who are the top 2 odds guys. And they're good players, and I think they'll probably win. But Luis Robert, in my opinion, is probably the third, when he's healthy, the third best pick for MVP, because he absolutely flies. He plays great as premium position in center field. And by the way, he absolutely rinses balls into the fucking street repeatedly. His projections are kind of low, which is not dope.
Luis Robert. I think Luis Robert wins an MVP in his career.
Just not this
year.
But
I don't think it's this year. I don't think it's this year.
Yeah. That's fair.
I think if Vlad Jr. if there's anyone that could come in second place, it's Mike Trout and Vlad are going to be fighting for second if Shohei does his thing on the mound.
Yeah.
But who knows? You know what? Shohei might have a fucking regression year as a hitter. You know, that's the one thing. Shohei might just like obviously we didn't see it, and like every time that you watch, it was must see TV.
Yep.
But like Shohei could have a fucking horrible year hitting, and that could take him out of MVP contention right away.
Yeah.
But it's like when you hit 40 home runs, but if he hits like 175 or some shit, you know, and hits 19 home runs and like is struggling, like slumps if the MLB figures him how to pitch him out, which seemingly was impossible last year because he would turn on a 98 mile per hour fastball with a long swing and somehow fucking hit it into the top deck. But like if he has a regression, the door actually is wide open.
I agree. I agree. And I'm not 100% on that Luis Robert pick. I just didn't want to go chalky with Trout or Ohtani, which is not the end of the world. It's like those are probably the best picks. I just really like Luis Robert. And he's also, by the way, 24 years old. Like he's a child. And I think he's also one of the very few guys in baseball that is a 30-30 capable guy. I think he's very easily could hit 30 home runs. I think stolen bases might be a little bit more challenging for him, but he still flies. So again, it's like, what if you have Ohtani, right? He pulls back a little bit. He regresses a little bit. Ohtani finishes with like 39 home runs and like 80 RBIs or 85 RBIs, pitches and throws it like a 3.7, like a little bit worse. And then you got Luis Robert who goes 30-30. I mean, fuck. Again, how do you not give a 30-30 guy MVP? Because you know that means he's playing good defense. You know that means he's contributing. You know that means he's getting on base. So, I don't know. I love Luis Robert, but probably won't be him. I don't know. It's just hard. Ohtani's a fucking freak, dude. God damn it.
It's just like what are you even?
You can't do anything.
You know, it's almost like a category.
Yeah.
It's almost like if we get guys that come up, like if Hunter Green would have kept hitting and been like a good hitter, and that are play both ways and throw 98 and hit jacks. It's like almost like if that became like a modern day baseball thing that like 20 years down the road they would have to be like a dual threat position.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because it's like tough. It's tough to justify anything else.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that'll do it.
Cool.
That's our picks, Jared. Opening day is tomorrow. Super exciting. We'll officially have like shit to talk about on the show and not just like projections and predictions and assumptions and trades and all this other bullshit. So it's really exciting. I'm pumped to get this show fired up and going. We got everything picked out. We have everything on record now. So if anything crazy like this happens or we get all of our predictions right, we can go back and quote it and then become rich and famous. So I mean, that's all we want to do is just rich and famous, right? No, what we want is to give you guys good content. Hopefully we did with this episode. To recap the awards quickly, I had Bobby Witt Jr., American League Rookie of the Year. I had Seiya Suzuki, National League Rookie of the Year. Garrett Cole, AL Cy Young. Zach Wheeler, NL Cy Young. Luis Robert, AL MVP. Trey Turner, National League MVP. Jared had Spencer Torkelson, American League Rookie of the Year. Seiya Suzuki, National League Rookie of the Year. Garrett Cole, American League Cy Young. Walker Buehler, National League Cy Young. Shohei Ohtani, American League MVP. And Mookie Betts, National League MVP. So, thank you guys for tuning into this episode. We greatly appreciate the support. Check us out on all of our social media and go to our website right now and check us out on Patreon. We have a Patreon page that we just put up like today, and it's going to give you guys access to exclusive content. Going to give you guys the ability to request topics for us to cover on this show and the Phenomenal Fan podcast. It's going to give you, depending on the tier, you can vote on what we talk about. access and discounts to merchandise that we will be releasing and all kinds of other shit. So go check us out on Patreon. Get a chance to talk to us directly if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but we got a Patreon. So thank you guys for tuning into this episode. We will catch you guys the next time. Will be next week, and we'll have a full weekend of baseball under our belts. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next episode.